Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hopefully you saw the first video. As I told you, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an immigrant. I live in the United States of America. I live in Florida, beautiful state of Florida, very sunny. So what I want to talk to you about today, I probably share this with me. When you look around, does the world seem a little crazy to you? Do you feel like it's really, people, countries have lost their mind and it looks very different than the world looked, let's say, even 10 years ago? 10, 15 years ago. So, anything from, pandemic to wars, to inflation, to crazy politics, right? People are like wondering what's next when the other shoe drops, right? So we're definitely living through a transition. And transition, I'm going to refer to some books that I read. I read a lot. I enjoy reading. And I'm going to try to kind of throw some of the books, some of the real stuff I see in life in those videos and help you kind of understand and decipher and prepare yourself for what's going on. So we're living through a transition. The transition it happens every 85, 90 years. If you want to go back in history, you could see what happened 90 years ago. The last transition started 1945 after World War II. So I'm specifically referring to Strauss and Howe generational theory, right? So we're talking about two books, and if I'm going to sound very theoretical here, trust me, I won't. I'm just going to mention certain names and so you can look it up. For some of you who want to buy those books, at least look it up online. And I'm going to just toss in those things here. So we're living through a generational transitions. It happens every 85, 90 years, right? It's called turnings. In every period called saeculums, there's 4 turnings, right? We're living for the 4th turning, the last one, which is usually accompanied by a crisis. So it happened last time, from 1930 to 1945 when we lived through Great Depression and World War II. If you go back another 80, 90 years, we're talking about Civil War. And again, this is a history that applies both to England and to America. It's an English-speaking world. So you can kind of, and again, if you just for fun, you can trace it back and get to, to the Independence War and the founding of the United States. So history has a certain pace to it, right? And we're living through the space, nothing to be scared about. But the fact that it feels unfamiliar and really weird and scary, it's because those saeculums are about 80, 85 years long. Typically, most people are dead by that time, or they don't remember what happened. But if you know history, you know what to prepare yourself for. So we've lived through this before, and for the people who are prepared and taking the steps today, we're gonna do okay here, especially for the people who listen to this channel. That's my purpose, is to prepare you guys from my perspective, from what I'm seeing for what's coming. And how not only to survive it, because I'm not about surviving, I'm about trying to thrive for it, okay? Both mentally, physically, help uplifting your family, helping your family, inspiring your friends, this kind of stuff, okay? Let's talk about what you guys personally can do. Because one thing is theory and knowing what's coming, and another thing is actually applying it to real life, okay? So a few things to keep in mind. And I think this is the 3 or 4 principles I'm gonna leave you with today. Mind your own business. Mind your own business, okay? Now what I mean, I'm not talking about your business, but I'm talking about your life, how you live your life. So concentrate on yourself. What I can do. What I can do today. What I can do today, forget about tomorrow, next month, a year from now. Concentrate on today. How can I make this day meaningful for myself, live a better version of myself, better version of being better husband, better wife, better friend, better boyfriend, better girlfriend, better son, better daughter, okay? Today, not tomorrow, okay, to-do list, but today, okay? So that starts usually with certain mindset and preparation, and usually starts the night before. So I ask myself this question every day. How can I be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday? Okay? Give me one thing I can do better. So write it down, commit to it. And usually I use, okay, that's my fancy, handy dandy fancy tool here. That's what I use. I'm sure you guys can come up with something fancier. But ask yourself this question. How can I be a better version of myself today than tomorrow? Then focus on your immediate sphere of influence. You don't need to worry about what they're doing there in Washington, what they're doing, overseas in Russia, Ukraine, all that stuff. It's important if you really want to worry about those things, but I think it's gonna just make you more worried, more anxious, and it's not gonna help you achieve what you want to achieve. And there's some things you have to do, some things you have to stop doing. So an example, what you should stop doing, stop watching the news. Done. Don't stop, doom scrolling, stop. I cut cable 6 years ago, best decision of my life. I read very little. I read only what's relevant to my work, and I disconnect from everything else. So many people tell me, have you seen this? Have you heard this? This married this said this. No clue, don't hear, never heard. And actually, when they tell me those things, I was like, holy cow, is that the world we live in? And I'm so happy that I don't have the news and I don't read newspapers, okay? Number 2 is Also, stop complaining. It's another thing. I hear people complaining, I did this, he did this, he's this person, is that. Stop complaining, okay? So they accept responsibility. Everything that happens to you, and we're gonna do a separate video about this, but everything it happens to you, it happens for you, and in some way, and we're gonna talk about in what way, maybe in a little bit of mystical sense, you chose this. Whatever comes to your life, it's your choice, a result of your actions, your thoughts, okay? So yes, this is sort of my controversial statement for the day. The second thing you guys could do is invest in yourself. When I say invest in yourself is, I use those business terms, but I'm talking about personal development. If it's going to the gym, okay, which I think you should do it kind of gym or doing something physical daily, running, yoga, stretching, jump rope, walking, okay, but do it daily and do it consistently. Another great thing I found for myself is meditation. Okay, now people think the meditation, I'm gonna levitate here, I'm gonna do some ashram, I'm gonna learn this. No. I'm sure you could do this, and if you have the time, more power to you guys. I live a pretty busy life, which is probably like many of you, and kids, family, business, all the other stuff. So what I do is 5 to 10 minutes a day, I put music on, kind of like meditative music, a certain frequency. I use the different frequencies on YouTube. I put my AirPods and I just breathe. I do 10 breaths or 20 breaths. And I do it again. That's it. Breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth to the tune of this music. And many times I ask a question before I meditate. I ask a certain question that's bothering me at the time. And I many times, if not during meditation, but throughout the day, I received an answer to this question. Okay. Another great thing I do is journaling. Usually in the evening, throughout my day, I ask myself 3 questions. What was I proud of? Okay. What got me excited? And what I could do better. I answer those questions and I move on, okay? And I have, journals and journals of doing this. Finally, what I want to finish with, and it's kind of where I started, is basically I would highly recommend you guys embrace uncertainty. It's part of life. Just like now with the cloud came, right? You see there's less sun. Clouds come and go, sun comes out. So eventually sun will come out, but we might be living for some period where there's a lot of clouds in the air, and it's fine. And people who live, up north, there's snow, there's rain. It's a seasons. I think we're living through a season. And eventually the sun is going to come out, the sun is going to shine. So what specifically I recommend, how do you lean into discomfort? I would say, anything you can do that makes you a little bit more, it throws you out of comfort zone. If it's talking to people that you not comfortable with, not familiar. If you may be taking a cold plunge every morning like I do, or maybe going to the gym, maybe upping your workout routine, taking more weight, or even doing something crazy like in the airport. Instead of taking escalator, take the stairs, okay? But do it consistently, and that should be your mindset. Embrace discomfort, lean into discomfort, embrace uncertainty, okay? So I think these are the 4 or 5 things that we can do nowadays to really improve ourselves, improve our quality of life, and not only survive, this kind of very tumultuous period, but thrive. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you find it useful. I have more videos on the way to benefit you on entrepreneurship, mindset, immigration stories, starting your own business, investing, all the good stuff. Thank you for listening. If you like it, please subscribe.